Hello there and welcome back. So in this video I'm going to share with you around 10 different useful Figma plugins that can help you in your design project. Now what you should know is that there are hundreds of different Figma plugins that exist out there, and of course you can explore them by yourself. So you can just open up this resources panel, hit plugins, and from there you will be able to search many different plugins available in the Figma community. However, in this case I'm going to share with you 10 different useful plugins that you can use within your projects and that can help you out and speed up your workflow as well. Now the first plugin which I'm going to show you is called Aruri Splines, so this one. This is a plugin that will allow you to create high-quality splines, shapes, spots by adding gradient along the path to any curve. So let's just run this plugin so I can show you. So after you run this plugin, then a new window here will appear. As you can see, we can also scroll down to see some more information on this actual window. So here we can select what kind of a shape we want to choose for our own path here. Or we can choose one of those existing paths down below as well. So as you can see here, we can just select one of those that are actually available for free. So only a couple of those are available for free. For example, this one. As you can see, it contains those specific colors that are converted into a gradient along this path, right? We can also delete that, or we can just continue creating here these shapes. So it's almost the same as with any other different vector or path on your actual canvas. So you can just select those nodes, you can move them around. As you can see, we can create basically any shape that we want, and those gradients will be immediately applied to that same shape as well. What we can do, we can also just remove everything from here. So just click delete all, or we have an option to delete the last path or anchor in this actual path. Here we can of course select our own color palette, so we don't have to choose their own. We can just delete, for example, all those and apply maybe one or two gradients. For example, we can apply here maybe this purple one, and then we can apply here this one as well. There you go. So now let's just, for example, here create or choose this a circle actually. We can choose here a dash for that path as well, but we don't want to. So let's start here by adding the first path, okay? So just select the second path, there you go. Now we can create here our own path, for example, something like that. We can even modify those paths as well, there you go. So it's that simple. And what we can do, we can now just try to actually add it to our own canvas. So click export. Okay, and just close that for now. So immediately after that you will see that this actual shape was added to our canvas immediately. Now what you need to know is that this is actually not a vector file, so it's just a PNG or the actual image. Alright, so the next plugin which I'm going to show here is called the Auto Documentation, so this one. Now this plugin will allow us to basically export all our color and the text styles into a documentation on our canvas with one click. So let me show you. Here, as you can see, for now we have only 3 different text styles and a couple of different color styles as well. So for example, let's choose now first those colors and click document all colors. So let's just wait until this process is finished, and after that we can just see all those colors. Let me just close it for now. We can see all those colors that are actually added now to our actual canvas. There we go. So now with a one click we were able to actually create the documentation for those same colors that we already have within our project. So each and every color here contains the actual color, its name, its hex code, and this code down below as well. Okay, so it's pretty convenient, right? Let's now also select that same plugin and let's choose here the fonts. So let's generate our fonts or text styles. Let's close it for now. Okay, so here we can see that the new frame has been generated, and that frame contains all those 3 different fonts. So the first one will contain the actual size of let's see, so header 1, right? It contains the size of a 34 in this case. The second one contains the size of a 20 bold, and the third one contains the size of a 13, which is a regular, right? So that's also one useful way to just generate the actual styles documentation for our project, or we can just generate all those things manually by ourselves. So it's up to you. Okay, let's just delete all of that for now. The next plugin which I want to show here is called Pattern Hero. So let's select this plugin, and this plugin will allow you to basically multiply some of those components on our canvas and create the pattern out of it. So let's say that we want to create here some kind of a pattern with some basic shapes, like for example rectangles. So let's just here specify maybe a black color. Let's specify here one circle as well, so maybe with a different color or with the same color, so nevertheless. And let's also choose here maybe some other shape, like for example this polygon. There we go. We can also flatten that and now increase its actual size. And now what we can do, we can just select those three, for example. We can create a frame out of that, so Control A or Shift plus A. Let's choose this pattern, this plugin, and here we can specify how many rows or columns we want to duplicate this actual frame and create a pattern out of it. So for example, I'm going to leave that as it is, click Create Pattern, and there we go. So now we have created here 10 rows and 10 columns with a padding of 5 between all those frames, right? There we go. So we can now basically use that pattern and actually change its color to be less visible. For example, we can just add that wherever we want on our screen, so it's up to us. There we go. So that's how you can easily create the pattern in Figma with a simple plugin. The next plugin which I want to show here is called the Chart Line. So this is a plugin which will allow you to create beautiful chart lines for your project. So let's run this actual plugin. There we go. And here, of course, we have a simple and some presets as well. So we have a sine wave, we have normal distribution, we have S-curve. So those are some presets that are actually available within this chart line plugin, or we can just create by ourselves what kind of shape for those lines we want to get, right? We can use a straight or a curves, so it's up to us. Let's, for example, specify this one. And there you go. Now we can use this line and specify that line to our actual chart and maybe add some additional elements to this actual shape or line. Like, for example, this one. We can just add, for example, circle here at the beginning, circle here, circle maybe right here or here. So, you know, you can just use your own imagination. The next plugin which I want to show you here is called Content Reel. So this is my favorite one, because it will allow you to design your layouts more efficiently by pulling some text strings, images and icons from one palette. Let me show you. So this is basically a plugin which will allow you to populate your actual design with some random names or text elements like the full name, lorem ipsum, a date, full address names, phone numbers, and some other different things as well. So for example, let's say that we have here some text that we need to specify in our project, and this text needs to represent, for example, let's say maybe a name. So we can use this actual content reel to specify a name. So as you can see, whenever we press this name, then a new name will be immediately generated to this actual text element. We can also use some lorem ipsum text to create some paragraphs. We have a date here as well, full name or full address, a phone number, a currency, and so on and so on. We can, of course, here search some different things like the text elements. So we have some more examples for the email, for example. Then we have some icons. So we can, for example, specify here maybe one circle and then some avatar images here or photos. There you go. So it's quite convenient. We also have some icons. So this content reel is very useful, especially when you need to provide some more and meaningful information to your existing design. Alright, so the next one which I want to show here is called Figmoji. So this is a plugin that will allow you to easily add emojis to your project. So let's just run this plugin. So basically this Figmoji contains different categories of emojis, and each and every emoji that you want to add to your project will actually represent the SVG, right? So this is the vector file. As you can see, it contains one circle, two circles, and some custom shapes as well. And you can of course place this wherever you want within your project. The next plugin which I want to show you here is called isometric. So this one. So this plugin will basically allow you to create an isometric layers without manually having to set them up, right? So for example, let's say that we have here one rectangle. Let's design here some rectangle. Let's specify here maybe some custom shape. For example, this polygon, something like that. And maybe even some circle, right? Like that, right? We can also specify here some shadow, some drop shadow, so maybe 20, here 16, right? Let's convert that into a frame, so those two actually into a frame, so Shift plus A or Control G to convert that into a group, and those two into a frame. So now what we can do, we can just select this isometric plugin, and we can now just press either this left or right. As you can see now, we were able to create an isometric design out of our actual shape, right? So it's quite easy to just convert basically each and every design of yours into an isometric shape. What we can do, we can also select, for example, maybe this one. We can just unlock maybe, let's say this first one. There you go. Let's select that one and let's convert that into the isometric shape like that. So there you go. It's quite beautiful to see those designs converted into those isometric shapes. So there you go. Let's undo that for now. The next plugin that I want to show you here is called Mapsicles or Mapsicle. So sometimes when you're working in your design project, you may need to add the actual map to your design, right? And in most cases, you would go to a Google Map and just take the screenshot and then apply that screenshot to your Figma project. However, now there is an easier solution. So you can just open up this Mapsicle plugin. You can navigate to basically each and every city here that you want. For example, let's say maybe some city or Sacramento, let's say. So we can just zoom in, for example, somewhere here. We can specify either the width or the height of this actual image. So maybe 192 by 1080, right? And now we can just click Create Map. And then immediately after that, that same map will be generated in that specific size that we need for our project. Alright, so the next plugin that I want to show you here is called UI Gradients. So UI Gradients. I have shown you that the website in some of the previous videos, and that website also offers the actual plugin for our Figma, right? So what we can do now, we can just select, for example, and create here, maybe let's say one rectangle. Okay. And here, as you can see, we can just choose one of those beautiful gradient colors. We can apply them to our project, as you can see, quite easily. And from here, of course, we can click this fill and adjust that actual gradient however we want, right? So it's quite convenient. There you go. Now we can adjust that gradient by ourselves, so we don't need to go to that actual website and copy and paste those colors in our actual shape. We can just use this plugin and apply them directly to our selected shape, right? Alright, so the next plugin that I want to show you here is called a Blush. So I have already shown you that website also in some of the previous videos, and this is a plugin that will allow you to generate or actually use some of those illustrations in your project directly. So here we have some illustrations that are not available for free, but also there are some actually illustrations that are available for free. So we can just tap on that actual illustration and we will be able to download that to our canvas. Now what you should know here is that each and every illustration that we add here is the actual PNG, right? So it's not an SVG. And for a SVG, I think that you will have to upgrade here to a premium version or something. But nevertheless, the PNGs are available. And the last plugin that I want to show here is called Unsplash. So Unsplash is a website where you can find different kind of stock images for free. So you can just search here basically for any thing that you want to add to your project. For example, here we can write a mountain, press enter, and we can just import that with a one click. There you go. And we can now, of course, use this image in our own project design to create some kind of a shape or basically anything we want. Alright, so those were some interesting plugins that you can find in Figma. As I already mentioned at the beginning, this is just a small part of the plugins that you can actually find on Figma. So be sure to search this Figma community for some different kind of plugins and explore them by yourselves. Also, if you find some interesting plugin by yourself, you can share that with the rest of us by commenting down in this same video. And that will be all for this video.